thank you all so much. We're so excited to be part of the Luncheon Chamber, and we've officially broke ground May 6th, so we are coming, and we're excited to hire a great new group of new employees. I am here with Brad Burkell. He is our financial service advisor, and he's a Lindell hero, I hear, so he'll be here for you guys. We also have Miss Esmeralda Molina. She is our location manager at our West Loop, and then we have Miss Ashley Worthen. She's our true office manager as well. So we're just so grateful to be here. Thank you all so much, and I'll hand it over to Miss Lisa.
Today is Ask Lisa, a retirement specialist. I have to say, for Ask Lisa, she came into the chamber literally 2 years ago, and we met her at a networking night the first time, and she had a great idea. She had worked in nursing home and healthcare for a long time, and decided that those people on the other end need help finding the right place for their family. And me personally, we had just experienced it with my grandparents, and I knew what it was like to try to find the right location, the right fit for my grandparents and for our family. So I knew there was a need for that, because it's hard to navigate on your own, especially if it's an emergency situation. She did that 2019, and then 2020 COVID hit, and more people than ever needed her services, because you couldn't just go visit a facility and look it over before you decided that's where you were going to put your loved one. So in 2020, her role became much larger in people's lives and helping families. And so we're proud to have her as a sponsor and a speaker today. Our format today is always health, but I think that your retirement and financial health after you've done all of this work is just as important. So, Lisa, come speak.
Thank you so. Y'all, this is a subject that I get really passionate about, and she's going to have to get the hook because I could go 3 hours. Yes, my name is Lisa Lewis. My company is Ask Lisa, Retirement Community Connections. And this idea was born out of actual leadership in memory care, assisted living, and independent living communities in our area. I was on the ground working in those different companies for a long, long time, about 15 years. And people would come up to me in my community and say, oh, I don't know who to turn to. We've got this situation with my mom. I don't know where to go, who to talk to. And even if it wasn't something I could help them with, I would be able to direct them to the place that could, right? So it occurred to me, well, why not do this and help people and turn it into a business? So that's what happened, and I totally believe it's a God thing that it all worked out when it did in 2019. So let me ask you guys, raise your hand if you have an elderly loved one in your life right now. Raise your hand. Okay. Are they all doing great? Raise your hand if they're doing great. Several are doing great. Great. Do you have concerns that they might not be doing great in the near future? Raise your hand. There's a few people. Okay. So here's what I like to tell people that I work with. Before you get all panicky and get all worked up because something has happened, a crisis has occurred, and it will occur, probably, in most of the percentage of the cases, it will occur. Before that happens, call me, okay? Just call me. I don't charge you guys for talking to you or doing any work that I do for y'all. It is a free service, okay? So why not take me up on it? Call me up, let's talk about what you're looking at, what your concerns might be, what's happening, what's changed. Has there been something that has triggered a different behavior and you don't like what you see in what's going on with that loved one? Let's talk about what's maybe going on and give you some ideas before you go online in a panic and Google assisted living and give those people all your information. Because what happens if you do that is you get first you get the phone call from the Google place, and then you get 35 communities within a 20-mile radius calling you saying, we're the best place for your mama. And you are already out of your mind with grief and anxiety over what you're going to do about her. You don't want to talk to 30 people because 27 of them aren't even going to be a good fit. Can I get an amen? Do y'all understand what I'm talking about? Have y'all ever done that before with other industries and Googled something and gotten all this stuff? That is not the way to go with this particularly, because this is your mom or dad, or it might even be your spouse that you're concerned about, and you don't want to talk to 65 people that don't really care about you, okay? So the best way to go, in my humble opinion, and many of my clients, is to ask Lisa. And so on your table, you've got a little tiny brochure that basically tells my story of how I handled my situation with my dad and my mom. You've got a little notepad, you've got a little pen, you have a little card. You'll keep this card and call me up sometime. We can go through and discuss what's happening and come up with a game plan to go see the top 2 or 3 that are going to meet your criteria. Because let's face it, most people are going to look at how much does it cost, what are the services, and where are they located. Well, you're not going to want to drive to Jacksonville if you live in Tyler, or you're not going to want to drive to Tyler if you live in Mineola. There are some options, not very many, but there are a few around. You want to know where you're located, where you want to be. You're going to be the one going and visiting that loved one all the time. What's going to work for your life too, okay? And we narrow that down. And then we just go see those places, and you may or may not sign with them. You don't have to. Just look at them, see what's offered. But when the crisis day happens, you'll be ready. And you'll know what speaks to you, what works with you, what the vibe was. You'll know the director's name. You'll know the sales director's name. You'll have already built a relationship, felt comfortable, and can make a quick decision if needed, and a good educated decision. So, my services are free. And yes, F-R-E-E, free to you. So there's no skin off your back. You call me anytime you have questions. I'm always available to talk to people and help them figure this out. Gives me great joy. And there are several people in this room whom I have helped find places for their loved one this past year. So call me. Let me know what you need, and I'll be happy to work with you. Thank you.
Next up, I'm going to introduce all 3 of these lovely ladies, and then they're going to pass the baton to each other. Back several years ago, probably 2018, Brenda Jones, which was my assistant, attended one of their seminars. And she actually attended it in Mineola. And she came back and she said, we have to book these people for a speaker. Little did I know that attending that seminar would cause her to retire and leave the chamber about 6 months later. But that's why they're good at what they do, is because she attended that seminar. She was able to go and meet with Stacy and her team and figure out that she actually could retire, that she didn't have to wait because of what Stacy presented her in her personal analysis. And from then, in 2019, we did bring both Stacy and Ross and Schulmeyer in and had a lunch and learn with them. And several of you took advantage of their services after that. Stacy talks all about financial, so your financial health. You got to this part of life because you've worked really hard, and what's next? When you get to that 60 mark, okay, when can I retire? What do the numbers look like to retire? How do I work Medicare and Social Security and retirement plans into that? So that's what Stacy's great at. Ross and Schulmeyer, Courtney's representing Ross and Schulmeyer today, and they're all about estate planning, elder care, how to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row when it's time for that next step. And that's very important. Again, like I shared, in 2019, I lost both grandparents in 25 days. And so I was their executor by choice. And let me tell you, if they hadn't had all their ducks in a row, my life would have been a whole lot worse than it was, because you think you're all friends and family and love each other until it's time to do an estate. And so they will take care of you and make sure that all your ducks are in a row, so when that time comes, you're taken care of. Also, no one wants to talk about it. My parents don't want to talk about it right now. But making sure that you have all those powers of attorney and everything set up. And then finally, they brought into the mix Dana Parr, and Dana is part of their dream team because she does the insurance part. And she's going to talk about that. I met Dana. She was actually the chairman of the board for the Longview Chamber of Commerce. And I got to know her when we went to Austin this year together. And they have since done they're now on TV together doing segments and really just trying to make sure that East Texas is protected and covered. So, Stacy, without further ado.
Everything with us. And I also want to make a shout out to you, Lisa, just to say you're so on board with that. We're within a week and a half of placing my mother somewhere, and all those emotions in the right place, and the whole everything. You know what the expectations are. You're so on target. So I do highly recommend. I wish I knew you at that time. So, but anyway, yes, I'm Stacy Aldridge with Retire Smart East Texas, and I've got my team here with us. Part of our team. We collaborated, a team of professionals years ago, and we all work as a separate entity. So I'm Integrity Financial, Dana Parr is at Bandit Insurance, and then Ross and Schulmeyer. And we were going out all the time, and we then thought, oh, brainstorm. We need a rebrand. We're Retire Smart East Texas. That's who we are. So we have our TV shows that air on Saturday evenings at 5 o'clock on Channel ABC. And a lot of commercials and things going on, and it's kind of interesting now around town. People look at us and say, I think I know you, I've seen you. So that's new for us. But we collaborate with a team of professionals to give those services, and we provide education, number one. So Courtney today is representing one of the attorneys that could not be here, Klein Pillow. He represents the Tyler office. Then we have Courtney Ashahara and Chris Parker in the Longview area. So we cover quite a broad area when it comes to servicing. Dana Parr is very conscientious on the Medicare side, and she'll speak here in a minute as well on placing and helping individuals with their right Medicare supplements, the cost factors that are involved, the drug plans, and so on and so forth. There's a little flyer on your table that tells you a little bit about the Tyler team and then the Longview team. Our pictures on it. And then for your convenience, we put together a little folder, a packet full of our information, so you'll have that today. And what's in your folder, just quickly, on the left-hand side, there's a little questionnaire we're going to do. It's numbered 1 through 10, Social Security and estate planning. You're going to set that aside. We're going to have fun here in a minute, all right? So we're going to do a little activity together and have a little fun with Social Security, believe it or not. And then behind that side, I can't get my fingers working, there is an up-to-date 2021 fact sheet regarding Social Security, and they always make updates every year, so you'll want to keep that information handy, and with the Medicare as well, behind that. Some of you may have paid into a defined benefit plan rather than Social Security. Are any of you in this room that are not paying Social Security throughout your career in your place of business? Not today, no. So that would involve special calculations with Social Security, which is the windfall elimination, and then directly behind that is the government pension offset. So a lot of times, if any of you have friends that are teachers or firemen or those that work in nonprofit hospitals, those teachers, preachers kind of thought process typically have defined benefit plans. They may have acquired Social Security along the way and or married to someone who has Social Security, but those two items don't work well together. And you need to know the formulas and how to maneuver through that, and that's something that we definitely specialize in our Longview area. I'm kind of known as the TRS lady in the area because I've done that for 20 plus years with those individuals. And then directly behind that is what's called the in-service distribution form. So many of you may have a 401k, you're in retirement, you have your funds in there, and you know what's going on with the market, right? So are we getting close to retirement? Are we getting antsy? The in-service distribution is a provision in most plan documents that allows an individual who says, I'm nearing retirement, I want to protect my nest egg, but I want to keep working. And I want to participate in my 401k and continue with my tax break. So the in-service, literally you're in service, but it's a distribution. You roll your 401k over, and then you're going to control it from there in a place that maybe you're more comfortable, providing a safe spot for your nest egg, and then continue working until you're ready to retire. It's also commonly called the 59.5 rule distribution, either way. So HR departments need to confirm if that is in their plan documents. This has helped and saved so many individuals that we've worked with in retirement timeframe. Because our niche is retirement, so we're talking with individuals approaching that age and they're thinking, I'm getting a little nervous, what do I do? Can you help us manage this account? What are your recommendations? So that's also something that's allowed. Quickly, on the right-hand side is a chart. Yeah, I'm a financial person, but that's not what this chart's for. I want you guys all to know this is the most simple, easy chart. It's not even really up to date. It goes to 2015. And there's a reason for that. Any and every investment, anything with risk, gold, real estate, brokerage account, on this chart that you see here, you're going to see that red line. If it's on that red line, if it has risk and can go up and down, it's on that red line. Then you're going to see a soft blue line. That's going to be your regular fixed account, CD account, money market. We can't lose, not much gains, but it's consistency and it's that sleep at night. And then many years ago, guess who? The baby boomers, who are the CFOs of big financial institutions, said, we want the best of both worlds, and created a green line. So there are 3 different options now stepping into retirement. You can keep a red line, you can go into a blue line, you can have a little bit of both, or you can also build in a green line. The green line provides you with the growth, but yet it protects you from losses. So it's a little bit nicer and friendlier than the blue line, but it protects you from the losses that are in the red line. Why do I use this as a quick analogy? If you'll look at the first peak to the left-hand side, and you're going to see a cliff. That drops during 9/11. And then everybody's freaking out. We've never experienced anything like that. So we're going to work, and we're going to rebuild our accounts, and we're back to where we want to be. And look what happened at the next time of the cliff. What timeline was that cliff? 2008. So we all remember that. That's more in line with what our group that we talk with are familiar with 2008. So now we got to work and work and work, and get that money back up to where it needs to be. But see what happened to that green line along the way. So we're having to worry about those cliffs. I call cliffs an easy term because when we step into retirement, do we want to avoid the cliffs? Do we want to know that our money that we're depending to live on every single month is going to be there? Not all your money needs to be in a green line, but what about that money that's at sleep at night? I know I'm going to have my monthly desired income, then I'm going to have my other money too. Okay? What happened in 2020 last year? We had another cliff. Fortunately, our market rallied back. Okay? So the point with this is just to let you know we don't ever know when those cliffs are going to happen, but we need to be prepared for those in retirement. So that's my spill on the financial side. Before I go into the worksheet that I mentioned to you to set aside, again, it was called Social Security and Estate Planning. Keep that one set aside. Behind that in your folder is a pamphlet for the Medicare that Dana's going to talk to you about. And I always like to share, there's a really nice little tear-out piece that I use for my parents that you can list medications on. It fits in your billfold like the size of a credit card, and it's so handy. If some of you are in here like myself and I'm helping take care of my parents, we go in and out of the doctor's office. Yeah, my phone is helpful and I keep stuff on there, but that little card is helpful. You're going to see a pamphlet, or is it a flyer, Courtney? Is it a pamphlet?
It's just their truck.
Truffle. Well, it looks just like this, but it's for Ross and Schulmeyer, LLP. Amazing, top of the line, reputation, elder care, wills, trusts, directives, what should I do, Ladybird deeds, Medicaid, amazing. They are very accountable and best in the area with me. And then at the very back, you're going to see a sheet that says, thank you for attending our Retire Smart. So we are speaking tonight. We're speaking at our 2-hour education that we have. We do that once every month in Longview and once every month here in Tyler. We're here last Tuesday of every month in Tyler. First Christian Church. I got to visit last week, and it is a beautiful facility and perfect for meetings. Free of charge if you want a full 2-hour educational seminar. But we hand this out because we're talking briefly today. If you have personal and you want to check a box and say, hey, I need to know more about that Social Security, I need to know more about that Medicare or the legal side, check a box and just leave it at the front desk on your way out with your phone number and name, and that gives us permission to contact you. We're not going to bombard you, that's not what we're here for, but if you have questions, you're welcome to call us. And by the way, just like Ask Lisa, it's complimentary. So you can call us complimentary and get some answers to your questions. Okay, all of that's in your folder, lots of good stuff. That was really quick, but now let's have a little fun. Let's have fun with Social Security. If you'll grab this worksheet, we've all had lunch, we're best friends now, and we're gonna just sit back and relax and catch on a little bit about Social Security. So does everybody have their sheet with them? In front of them. Okay. If you know the answer, just shout it out or raise your hand, and we'll kind of go through this together. Just a little bit about what should I know as far as details of Social Security. So the first question, true or false? If you wait until you're age 70 to file for your Social Security benefits, your account will earn 8% compounded interest annually after your full retirement age. So I've got a what? What I heard? It's true? That is true. Anybody else? Anybody gonna? All right. It's not meant to be tricky. It is actually false the way it's worded, but it would be true if we change the word compounded to simple interest. So simple interest. For these individuals in the room, either your full retirement age is probably in age 66, if you were born in 1960 or later, it's 67, right? So if you don't take Social Security at that time and you want to continue working or waiting, then Social Security Administration will add 8% simple interest each year you wait, up to 3 or 4 years, depending on if you're 67 or 66 in your full retirement age. Could be quite a bit of an increase to your Social Security. So 8% simple interest, just so that you'll know that that is there for you and that it's still active. Number 2, if you're full retirement age, acronym FRA, by the way, I want you guys to know a little bit, when you call Social Security, get on their wavelength, they use that a lot, FRA. And you think, I know what that means. So your FRA, and if your FRA age is 66 and you file for Social Security benefits at age 62, how much of your Social Security benefit will you surrender? So if you take it as early as you can, how much do you give up? A 30%, B 20%, C 25%, or D none? Get that answer a lot. Actually, C. Yeah. So you'll get about 75% if you take it at your earliest available time at 62, rather than waiting until your full retirement age. Number 3, true or false? A restricted Social Security application can be used as early as age 62. What's a restricted application? All right. So the Bipartisan Act changed a lot of things back in 2015. I was speaking before 2015 in all these workshops, and people were floored when they knew there were about 60 different ways to file for Social Security back then. Bipartisan Act came around because the disability fund, the Social Security Disability Fund, was going to go broke the very next year in 2016. And they met one night and they moved $150 billion with the B dollars from the Social Security Trust Fund over the Disability Trust Fund to keep it afloat. So at that time, they had to make lots of changes in Social Security so they could maintain that trust fund. And so they took away a lot of loopholes and special filing strategies. And among those was filing restricted. So to make it real easy, filing restricted, let's say for today's group, if you are a survivor, you can use the filing restricted, no questions. Rules have not changed. So if you turned your full retirement age before January 2020, you can still use the filing restricted. So what is that? So this really sweet woman looking at me right here in this beautiful black and green outfit. Are you married? No? Are you divorced?
Yes,
Are you a survivor?
in many ways.
That's a great answer. I'm going to keep that one. That's good. are you, has he passed away or is he living?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, because of that situation, let's just use this as a survivor benefit situation. Okay? And then in your name?
Sarah.
Sarah, I'm putting you out there.
Sarah.
Sarah?
Sarah.
Sarah, that's so pretty, Sarah. Okay, so let's just say it's a survivor benefit situation, and Sarah is 60. So a survivor can actually apply for Social Security as early as age 60 or 55 if disabled. And what that means is she could file that deceased person's record, then wait and switch to her record when it gets to be big and strong and a big payout at a later date. Or vice versa. She could go ahead and file on hers and wait and take that other one at a later date. So filing restricted is filing on a different person's record and then switching to your own.
I thought they changed those rules.
They changed those rules, but not for survivors and not for someone who turned an FRA prior to 2020. Yes. Yeah. So that's what that rule does provide. So filing it at age 62 is something that is available for a survivor. It is not available for someone who is married, currently living, everybody's happily living, but they turned their full retirement age prior to 2020. It had to be your full retirement age. So that's just one of those last special privileges that are out there. Thank you, Sarah, for being example. All right, let's move on to number 4. The primary income amount, PIA, is your monthly Social Security benefit. That's your check every month. How do they calculate that? Quickly, let's do this. Your earnings of the last 35 years of work, your earnings of your best 40 quarters of work, your highest earnings of 35 years of work, or your highest earnings of 40 years of work. Does anybody know that answer? C. C. Good job. C. So they're going to cherry pick, and they're going to go throughout your entire work history and pull out the ones that you earn the highest. Get 35 of those. Add them all up and divide it by 35. Divide it by 12, and then they have some internal factors that they apply. So I always just say, look at your record. Don't just, I'm bad. How much am I going to make? And that's it. Right next to your statement is your work record. Just kind of glance at that. I've worked with several that go, gosh, I know I was working back in 1996 and there's not anything on here. So you want to get that corrected because it could affect your Social Security benefit. Number 5, true or false? A widow or widower can apply for deceased benefits as early as age 60? True, we just talked about that. Number 6. Correct. Kudos. Yeah. Age 55 unless they're disabled. Gosh, they're listening. Love it. 6. One should apply for Social Security benefits at the age of 62 if, and I'm going to give everybody the answer D, if they need the money. We don't advocate one age over another. It's always per circumstance. 7, true or false? The earnings test can eliminate monthly payments completely. Yeah, who said that? Good job, thank you. That means that if you want to go ahead and take Social Security, but you're not your full retirement age yet, so you're taking it early, but you still want to work, they're going to look at, there's an earnings test. So you can only earn so much money before they start to penalize your Social Security payments. And so we don't like people to get caught in that trap. If you have filed for Social Security and you want to work and things start looking like you should have filed, you want to change your mind, you have one redo, and that's within 12 months of filing. You do have to pay your money back that Social Security paid you, but you can start all over at a later date. Okay? So the golden ticket is your full retirement age. Once you meet your full retirement age, you can make as much money as you want. No questions. That only applies if you take your Social Security prior to your full retirement age. Number 8, true or false? If changes were not taking place in the Social Security Administration, the SS fund is predicted to be depleted by the year 2035. Yep, that's a fact. Yes. So they're making lots of changes up there. So many, and we're just keeping track of them periodically, and then we'll get our new reports out every October of the final changes for the following year. And number 9, true or false? The Social Security Administration can tell you when you should elect your benefits. So if you call up there and say, hey, what do you think? Is it Tom? No. In fact, you better state your questions directly, black and white, because you're not going to get the answers you want unless you're very direct with your questions. They need to be by the book and kind of vague. And number 10, true or false? Social Security payments are 100% taxable. No, false. They can not be taxable at all, depending on your extra income. 50% of your benefit can be taxable based on your extra income at your ordinary tax rate. And the maximum is 85% of your benefit can be taxable at your ordinary tax rate. So, how many of you guys made 100 on that? You did okay? So, lots of little quirks and tidbits about Social Security, but it's what we do day in and day out, and love it. We help individuals. We have a proprietary software that puts a couple's or an individual's information, and we can actually predict to see what you're going to make years down the road from Social Security, which helps you determine your needs for your income going forward. So without taking too much longer on the time dock here, and I don't want to overspeed my turn, I really am thankful to be here today. I love this area out here. You guys are a great group. We hope this was informative, and I'm going to let Dana take over with the Medicare side and share a little bit about her specialty. I'm going to find that flyer because I made a mess up.
Hi, my name is Dana Parr. I am the president and founder of Advanta Insurance Partners, and Shelby stole my thunder earlier. I was going to tell you how I met Shelby. However, I do want you to know you are so lucky to have Shelby leading this organization. She is a go-getter, and every time I came down for meetings, Shelby was already there, had a smile on her face, and was ready to go. So y'all are very lucky to have Shelby leading you. So I won't take long. Medicare is so exciting in insurance. So, but that's what we do. We work with Ross and Schollmeyer and Stacy with Integrity to help plan, to help get that pathway set when you are planning for retirement. What are your options? Can you stay on employment insurance? Do you need to go to Medicare? Something else that's happening more and more these days, we're having the children of parents come in and go, my mom took this out 10 years ago. Is this still good? Is this even a valid insurance plan anymore? So we are helping more and more children evaluate for their parents, making sure they're on the right drug plans, making sure they're on the right supplement that they need. And so there's a lot of options that come into play when you plan to retire or get onto Medicare. Because you don't always have to get on the Medicare when you turn 65. If you're working, you can stay in on employer insurance. Okay, we just want to look at all those options. So we don't just handle Medicare. We handle the Affordable Care Act plans, or you may know it as Obamacare. We have people that are retiring at 62. So they're not eligible for Medicare yet. So we've got to find some other alternative coverage for them. There's, like I said, there's a lot of options when it comes to insurance. And we just want to be sure we are working with your needs, with our group to lay that out for you so you know your path and you can go and enjoy your time and not stress over hospital bills and the coverage there. So, because there's a lot of misconceptions about Medicare, what it covers, what it doesn't, and I think Courtney's going to touch on that a little bit. And we're here, a free consultation. We meet with people over the phone. We help people. I was in Tyler yesterday helping a gentleman. He needed to apply for Medicare A and B. I just wanted someone there to hold his hand and make sure he was checking all the right boxes. That's a free consultation, free phone calls. Just give us a call. Our numbers are in there. And yes, Stacy mentioned our little medicine recorders. I have one for my mom. We keep it in my purse. But their medicine's on there, and it folds up to a credit card size and can go in your wallet. We have clients that literally roll in with rolling carts of medication. So if you need more cards, we have some of those. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Courtney. Thank you for your time. And here's your
Courtney Clipper. I am not not the attorney, but I just work for them, and I've been in long-term care similar to Lisa for almost 15 years now. So what we touch on and what we help with has kind of come full circle for me, and that is a huge blessing. But I'm touching on Medicare because has anybody ever heard there's so many different, a lot of different misinformation out there about how to pay for long-term care. And a lot of people, we get asked at least once a week, doesn't Medicare pay for my nursing home stay? And it can, but does it pay for my long-term stay? Not necessarily. So there are 3 different ways to pay for long-term care. One is private pay, of course, your cash, and I don't know if anybody's done any research lately on what it costs to live in the nursing home. It is very expensive. The second one would be long-term care insurance, and I don't know if anybody's quoted long-term care insurance recently, but that is also very expensive, and it gets more expensive the later in life that you look at it. And they're actually selling your policies, I believe, because it is so expensive to pay out. And the third would be your benefits, to go into the skilled nursing home for Medicaid. And that is where we can help, of course, in your crisis planning, like Lisa says. People will call in the middle of a crisis, and we of course help that, but we also help pre-planning. And so we can come in for free and visit with you about where you are in that journey, or where your parents may be, or where any of your loved ones are. And we can talk to you about what would be even protecting some assets so that you can go on benefits. Because every person in this room qualifies for Medicaid benefits to go into skilled nursing and long-term care. But the biggest thing that we hear is I have too much, I don't qualify, and that is not necessarily true. So you can actually protect some assets for your family or your loved ones, and then, actually go in and have Medicaid benefits to pay for those long-term care needs in the skilled nursing home. But I will circle that back around to make sure that y'all know that we actually visit for free and do an hour consultation for free with any of my attorneys in Tyler and Longview. And we have that sheet in there, so if y'all do want to fill that out, y'all can put that on that thing, and we will give you guys a call. And we are just so grateful and thankful to be here today and kind of come full circle with our team of experts that can visit with you. So.